That isn't an over-dramatic title, because the short answer is pretty much, yeah. But this won't be a whiny rant about where they lost me along the way. I don't have any hatred for Black Ops 4, only a lack of interest. And that isn't a complaint that I want them to fix. I played a ton of Black Ops 4, I'd say I got my value out of it, and I'm ready to move on. I'm not swearing off the game by any means, I'll still keep tabs on updates, and I might dip back in to try out new stuff, like I tried a few games of Alcatraz, but I've accomplished what I set out to do. So this will be an update on where I'm at with the game and what's going on. It is also an invitation for you to ask me questions for a bit of good old Q&A content. Yeah, you know, I've ran out of ideas when it's Q&A time. Well, that's not entirely true. It is coming up on a year since the last few of them. Apparently, that's about the right length of time, because I've started to get more and more people coming out to ask when I'm going to do some more of them. So I'll be collecting those questions up. You can comment on this video, or even better, I'll make a YouTube community post thing about it. I've yet to ever try to use that feature, and maybe I should. And I'll also make a tweet about it, or you can DM me on Twitter if you'd rather be anonymous. Up to you. Any of those places, feel free to ask away. I won't be trying to answer every question, though. I'll be picking and choosing. Might end up making multiple Q&A videos, depending on the volume of questions. I don't know yet. But today I have that question in the title to talk about. Figured I may as well get it out of the way now, so it doesn't come up in the Q&A, because typically, are you still enjoying current COD game, is a pretty common question. Well, yeah, I've definitely been fading away from Black Ops 4 for a while now. I've barely played it at all recently. Leading up to the Zombies 100%, I was hopping on for my daily calling and tier skip. Aside from that, maybe 3 or 4 Blackout games total in the past few months. And I tried a few games of Alcatraz, and that's about it. Going back in time to when the multiplayer 100%er stuff was wrapping up, I really enjoyed that multiplayer grind, making those videos as I went. If there's one thing Treyarch has done consistently better than any other studio, I'd say, it's their 100%er challenge design. The past couple Treyarch games have been very clean and organized in that department, makes the grind fun to complete. The weakest part of the game being the specialists, of course, but I promised I wouldn't get into that again. So the multiplayer was done. If we just go chronologically from that point, secretly in the background I was going at that zombies grind, but didn't have any ideas for videos to make about it at the time. So I was gearing up to shift my focus from multiplayer into Blackout and get super into that. Along with the Blackout camo update they were talking about, I could grind for Blackout Dark Matter and get the max level. The timing was perfect. But then, as you know, I found that camo update to be rather botched. Most people felt the same way. A mastery camo that had nothing to do with mastery, and that really was the beginning of the end. I was left without a real goal I wanted to strive for, because I knew Blackout 100%er was out of my reach time-wise. I wasn't interested in that. And shortly after, Apex Legends came out of nowhere, which had 2 effects. 1, I became more interested in playing that than Blackout, and 2, clearly a lot of people felt the same way, because the Blackout PC player count never recovered, and finding a match can be a struggle. It's half decent for the little while after new content drops, and especially right now, it's fine, because it's free to play, and Alcatraz needs fewer people. I can definitely find a match. And I think Alcatraz was a pretty darn cool addition of free content. There's a lot to that map, but it isn't like that means I'll be 100%ing the mode now. The fact remains I don't have a goal I want to shoot for, and it isn't like any of my friends are still playing it unless I drag them into it. There's no reason for me to want to hop on. And as soon as it goes back to not being free, I'm sure the player count will go right back to being subpar. A month of it being free is a long time, and like most people, I always assumed it would go free to play permanently someday, but we're not quite there yet. And even when we are there, well, that doesn't really change anything for me. At the same time as the camo update let down and all that, community opinion of the game was in the dumps, with drama after drama. Maybe it's calmed down for now. I never covered any of it because I didn't think there was anything I needed to add, and I just didn't care enough. First, there was the black market with the no reserves past tier 100, but then they corrected it to make it better than it was previously, so the reserves you earn while you play are purely a bonus and help out the people who don't get to tier 100, so that's fine. Then there was a knee-jerk reaction to seeing supply drops come back, which I partially agree with, with, but really they were the exact same thing as purchasing tiers of reserves before the update. Before, you could get 3 random reserve tiers for 300 COD points. Now you can get 3 reserve items in a crate for 200 COD points. It seems like the same thing, but with some extra flashy lights to hook people, I guess. So I still think spending any money on that garbage is dumb, but I really didn't see the outrage there. Nothing changed. Then after that, there were the expensive cosmetic pack dramas, people thinking you needed to pay 20 bucks for the Shamrock event when it was only extra cosmetics, but yeah, it was pretty dumb expensive, and people were expecting a new loot tier stream with the Mini 14 when that was actually coming later, and then there was the same thing all over again with the $28 hammer pack. I mean, yeah, that's delusional, but still not something that affected me on a personal level, because even if it were $2, I wouldn't be the least bit interested in any cosmetics that you don't earn through gameplay. And then I think they reintroduced that hammer in a different bundle for $8. Very funny. What a mess. Don't get me wrong, I know I keep saying I don't care about it, but I do also see how outrageous it is, and that it is important for people to be vocal about it to help shape a system that is more fun and more fair. It is the eternal tug of war between us and them. If nobody was critical of it, you can assume they'd keep pushing it further. And yeah, $30 cosmetics on top of needing to pay for the game, that might come off as, you know, a little greedy. I really hope everyone understands at least why people are mad about it. Like, if you're thinking, oh, but Apex is selling $18 gun skins that really aren't that special, and Fortnite has expensive skins, why does COD get so much shit for selling a $20 cosmetic bundle? Well, obviously the biggest difference is that COD isn't free, and it also doesn't feel very worthwhile to invest in expensive cosmetics to build up this super cool character, because the typical COD lifecycle is so short, people move on to the next COD, and your cosmetics are all obsolete. No trading, no selling. So you could try to argue that the COD hate is like 10% because people love to shit on COD for any reason, but 90% because a lot of people already shelled out over $100 to play and get the pass and don't feel like they got much value out of that pass, so free-to-play monetization being thrown on top is insulting, even if you're like me and never cared about buying them. And yeah, they are cosmetic only, and you don't have to buy them, so it doesn't ruin the game, it just feels disrespectful, like you're being swarmed by money mosquitoes when ads for bundles are being pushed on you in the menus like you didn't already pay full price for the game. Anyway, bottom line, I don't care much about that because I was never going to buy them and it isn't pay to win, but what I do care about is the effect it has on the community of players. It is not fun to play a game and especially be enthusiastic to make content about a game that so many people are hating with all their energy. It feels like, what's the point in that? There's no fun to be sitting in the middle of the fire pretending this is fine. Let's just keep playing, alright guys? So back to the timeline, the multiplayer was all done, I was getting into Blackout, I had those few ballistics topics lined up I was curious about, and I did have a lot of fun testing that for whatever reason, even though I wasn't actually playing the game, but I knew that when I wrapped that topic up, I was gonna feel pretty done with it, it was pretty dry, and sure enough, yeah, I didn't want to plan any other Blackout topics. I'm glad I finished what I started with the trilogy of Blackout videos, but I don't see much more of that coming. Continuing chronologically, that brings me to the Zombies 100%. Had another trilogy of videos I wanted to make about that, with the challenge guide and the spot guide, but in those 3 videos, I think I said everything I had to say about zombies as well. And that brings us to current day. The multiplayer I haven't touched since the 100%. I don't get excited about new weapons, new specialists, new maps. I never played a single DLC map. I never used Outrider, or even Zero more than one time for that matter. I know Barebones came out, and yeah, I think the game would have been better without specialists, but having a mode without them doesn't tempt me to go back at all. I can imagine how it would play without needing to play it. I still wouldn't have any goals that I'd be striving towards that I care about, which, as you may have gathered, is a big part of my enjoyment factor. I know not everyone's like that, you might think it's weird, but that is how it be. And again, I'm not asking for Treyarch to come up with some magical thing to get me back in either. I'm happy with where I left the multiplayer, feel no need to pick it back up. If I were to reflect on why I played World War II for so much longer in comparison, practically right up to the release of Black Ops 4, I'd say it was a big combination of the daily contracts and challenges, the whole reticle thing I was doing, giving me something to check off as I went, the shipment 24/7 never going away, the themed events that were larger, came with more content. At this stage of the game, there were 2 or 3 times more DLC guns added to World War II than we have in BO4. And getting something like a new war operation was much more interesting to me because they actually change how you play. A regular new map does nothing for me. Even when I was playing the multiplayer, I had zero interest, but I guess people who don't play only for grindy challenge purposes might be more inclined to care for new maps. Either way, I don't think Arsenal Sandstorm is doing it for anybody. Also, with the World War II events, you could prepare for them by stockpiling in advance, not like now, where you have to put in a ton of playtime after the content comes out, and by the time you get to the weapons, any excitement there is gone. I also had the long-term goal of 1 million armory credits that I was working towards, and finally hit near the end, and I was getting close to level 1,000, which I still have to finish one day, and we're still going. Maybe most importantly, there was the fact that everybody didn't hate the game for there being rather repulsive microtransaction decisions. There were no $30 hammers, and that made it much easier to keep enjoying it. If anything, World War II got better and better over time from their rocky launch, because I guess they needed to keep people playing, while Black Ops 4 already had the strong Treyarch fan base to take advantage of. And yeah, they've added cool stuff here and there, but there's been a whole lot to piss people off too. I'm much happier with Black Ops 4's challenge system, but there was a lot more that kept me playing World War II. Well, there's the multiplayer. Since I've gone through and mentioned all the game modes, yes, I was unironically thinking about playing through the Specialist HQ thing, but I really don't see how I'd make any content out of that. So that's where we're at. That's why I'm more or less done with Black Ops 4. Again, not like I'm swearing it off or anything. I could very well hop in if there's an update I find exciting. Just being honest, I don't see myself doing much more with Black Ops 4. And video games aside, this is a very interesting time, a very busy time. Got a final exam season wrapping up right now, and a lot going on outside of that. It's time to be an adult. I'll probably be moving in the next couple months. I don't know how long I'll be without a proper setup in that transition, and everything surrounding it. I'd expect things to chill out on the channel for a little while with some scattered Q&As. That sounds like a good time to me right now. Even if I disappear for a few weeks here and there, I'm never going anywhere though. I'll always be lurking on Twitter, and you can come hang out in the Discord server. It's an awesome place. And someday I'll hopefully have more time again for some more videos. About what? I don't have that planned out. Apex is a little dry on content right now, but they did have a nice update recently, and I'm still having fun. And you know, in that Season 1 update, they said they were thinking about having challenges and quests in future battle passes. That sounds like what I do. We'll see if they follow through on that. Thanks for watching. If you have questions for those Q&A videos, ask away. I'll catch you next time.